What's going on, everyone? Welcome into Around the Felt Sports. We're back after week 7, mixing things up a little bit tonight. Instead of doing a recap, since we didn't have the opportunity to get a pod out Sunday or Monday, we're going to do a little mid-season fantasy football recap and kind of where our heads are at. We got MVP, guys to trade for and away, and our biggest surprises for all of your major position groups. For fantasy football on deck, of course, we'll go through the news, answer the mailbag, give you an update on all of our picks from this week. By the way, another big dog catch. Come on. Let's go. Last night, Monday
Big
Night
catch.
Football. Amon-Ra St. Brown. I was like, we talked about it last week on the pod rig, and I was like, I've never done Monday Night Football. And you're like, there's no rules against it. I'm like, you're right.
There's
I do
no
make the
rules
rules
against it.
There are no rules against it. So I was kind of like, all right, it'd be cool to have a sweat thinking about it all day Monday, get us through the work days. And boy, did he deliver right away. Got it done, like no sweat. And then you had the rest of that game to watch and another game after, feeling really good. So Big Dog's now up 27 units on the season, 51 units all time. Why invest in the stock market? Would you just take Big Dog's touchdown parlay?
Well, I was at the Rangers game too, so I had no idea, and I just saw your text. Let's go. I was trying to get it on my phone. I was like, "Hey, Mom, can you text me the code for our Comcast?" So I was waiting to get in because I couldn't watch it on my phone. I was getting yelled at anyway because my girlfriend's like, "Come on, watch the game. What are you doing?" And I'm like, I kind of got something important riding here. So that was going on, and then all of a sudden I get a text from you, and I'm like, "All right, let's watch this Rangers game." They lost.
Got it done.
We
got it done, man. All right, before we get into the news, let's just give a quick update on our picks. So the weekly picks for week 7, the boys actually did pretty good this week. Reagan went 10-5 against the spread, 13-2 on the money line. Okay.
Well, okay. Also, it helps when I believe there was only one upset. Or it was like one or two upsets. That was it. Like there wasn't pretty much all the favorites won this week. I think it was the Bengals and I guess Dallas were the only two teams to get upset wins.
That is true.
Was Dallas a favorite? No, Dallas was a favorite, I think.
Dallas was a 1.5. No. We had Commanders 1.5 favorites.
Oh, okay. So I think it was I'm pretty sure it was just Dallas and the Bengals were the only two underdogs to win this week. So
yeah, that seems correct.
Shock, you were benefited heavily.
Yeah, I went 9-6 on the spread, 11-4 on the money line. So, not quite as good as you, my friend, but right there. Good week for the fellas.
Don't forget too. I mean, hey, Halloween season's here, and you're gonna
get to see. God damn it! Why'd I put my faith in goddamn Trevor Lawrence? I got too caught up in the London aspect of it, and they got their brakes beat off of. I mean, god damn it. I knew it was over in the second quarter. I was like, I got to wear a pumpkin head now.
This is going to be so funny, dude. Pumpkins are disgusting on the inside. That shit is gross.
Hey, if you would have told me it took till October 19th for me to do my first punishment this year, I would have signed up for that.
You did take 2 weeks off. There has been 2 pods you've missed. So
2 weeks off. That is true.
But so still, what is it, 4-1?
4-1.
3-1?
4-1 on the season.
Yeah, because you took 2. Yeah, 4-1. Yeah,
So on the season, you're 58-50 against the spread. I am 56-52. So 2 games back. We're both over 500. I am 66-41-1 on the money line. You're 65-42-1 on the money line. So I'm up 1 game there. Moving over to the Felt 5.
Yeah, let's move it there.
It was a good week for the fellas. I went up 7 units. Reagan 2.73. Garrett 1. Zach 7.92. Drock, the only one of the negative, 5.55. But on the season, everyone now is in the green besides Garrett. G-Money with Zach now in the lead, up 23.07. His wide receiver alt lines are doing him well. They are
and it's good.
I
guess it's a good thing we didn't get a Drox lock this week. That kind of benefited the people.
I know. He took that is good because probably would have picked Judkins, but I don't know, man. I don't know. So, yeah, we're all in the green on the season besides Garrett, but I have a feeling Garrett will be in the green next week, and then the boys are just printing.
He'll get there. Maybe he'll get there. The kid, he's trying. He's trying. He's more of a graphics guy. Good kid though. Good kid.
He's a good guy. He should just listen to the pod a little bit more. All right, so for the news that we got to start with some bad news. Mike Evans broken clavicle, confirmed out for the season after laying out for that deep ball, which he had until, of course, he got concussed as well, hit his head.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah, it's just a brutal injury for a guy that just came back. Unfortunately, it's the end of his 1,000-yard season streak. You hope this isn't the end of his career because he still has enough in the tank, in my opinion, to run it back for at least another year. But your thoughts on the Bucs outlook losing Mike Evans for the season, Reagan? And do you think this could be it for his career?
Definitely not it for his career. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a collarbone injury. Definitely can come back from that. It's not like it's a ligament thing or, a lower body injury. So I'm not worried about that. He'll definitely be back. If you drafted him in fantasy, it's unfortunate because you really didn't get a lot of him and you probably spent, a fourth, fifth round pick on him. Dynasty now, you kind of really can't trade him away, because nobody's going to trade for him at this point. In terms of the other options, it's great for Ibuka. He slides right into that number one role. He'll continue to cook because, a lot of people are not sure what it would look like when Mike Evans got back in Godwin. Well, hey, guess what? It's wide open for Ibuka to keep cooking. For Godwin, I view him in a higher light now. When he eventually does get back, maybe he'll miss this week. I think they kind of rushed him back a little bit because you saw he played and then has now missed 2 or 3 games straight. But yeah, and I guess Cade Otton, a guy who we'll get into a little bit later, who, is a guy I'm going to talk about, hasn't done a ton, but you saw last night he was getting a ton of targets from Baker, so he might be a guy you want to look into picking up at your tight end spot because it's getting scarce there. And I mean, Tez Johnson as well, if you did listen to me and throw him on your taxi spot or, picked him up in Dynasty waivers because probably wasn't drafted in your Dynasty leagues based off of, the path in front of him. He's a guy that you might want to pick up if he's still out there in Dynasty. Probably not in Dynasty, but, in redrafts, he's definitely still out there and might be a guy you want to acquire because he's a guy with that speed that has the ability to take one play to the end zone at any given time and has continued to do that the past couple of weeks. So definitely, scary, but if he does score, you're looking at a double-digit performance from him.
Yeah, I think this is just huge for Emeka Ibuka, a guy I was so high on before the season. He's already kind of returned on his draft status. Yeah. I know we both picked him a ton in best ball as well, which is nice.
No, I actually didn't. I don't really have any stock of him.
Oh, really? Damn, I got him 50% of my league. So.
Yeah, I don't know if I have any actually. I really don't have any. I wasn't really against him. It was just there was always other options I was taking over him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty thrilled to have Emeka Ibuka now. I got him in a redraft league where I lost Neighbors, so he kind of steps into a wide receiver 1 role for me and can kind of fill that void a little bit. So, yeah, big days ahead for him. And when Bucky Irving gets back, hopefully within the next couple weeks, I'm sure he's going to get a very big workload now as well. Tez Johnson, you mentioned, I mean, he's making plays. I just don't know how much volume he's going to get. Maybe Jalen McMillan when he gets back in, I don't know. It was a pretty major injury, 8 to 12 weeks, but that could be a potential guy for a playoff push that could make some noise.
Yeah, definitely worth. I mean, probably not in redraft leagues, but Dynasty. I mean, he's probably not out there at the time. I mean, it depends how deep your bench is. If you have a deep bench, multiple IR spots, maybe he's a guy to throw.
You could pick him up and throw him on the IR and just hopefully.
It's just tough with how many injuries there are right now to
Yeah,
I have Ayuk on a couple. Most of the leagues I do, you have one IR spot, and I have guys that are going to come back sooner. I have Ayuk on mine, and I haven't been able to throw Bucky there because Bucky keeps missing. And certain platforms as well, unless they're actually on the IR, being ruled out for the week doesn't make them eligible. ESPN, as long as they're out, you can put them there. But on Sleeper, they actually have to be on the physical IR to put them on the IR. If they're just missing, every time they're a game time decision and miss, you can't put them there, which sucks. So. Definitely varies by platform as well.
Moving on here. Some drama between Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. If you didn't see the comments after the game, Sean Payton said he recently told Giants owner John Mara he was hoping they'd turn to Jackson Dart after their game. High praise for Dart, a little shade at his former quarterback, Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson just replied about an hour ago. Classless, but not surprised. Didn't realize you're still bounty hunting 15 plus years later through the media. Sunglasses emoji, laughing emoji, hashtag let's ride. Reagan, wow. I didn't think we'd see Russell Wilson, Sean Payton going after it. Your thoughts on this little back and forth? I think it's hilarious. And
that is hilarious.
The bounty call out after a day plus. Russ was plotting for this move.
Lot of beef between the Manning brothers' former teams. I mean, I saw like even the Benito and the Giants edge rushers were kind of going at it a little bit, and it seems like there's a lot of toxicity there going on. And obviously it was a great game. Both teams went back and forth. At the end, I thought the Giants had in the bag. Rough loss for the Giants, unfortunately, but Broncos get it done. It's just, to me, if you're the Broncos, the fact that you're like talking all this smack when it's like, hey, you're kind of a Super Bowl contender, where the Giants were. It still probably will finish as a, bottom 10 team. Maybe they'll be a little bit better. It's hard to say, but with that tough of a schedule, I ultimately think they'll be a bottom 10 team. So that's what you're doing. You're talking crap to them. For the Broncos, it's just a bad look. It's like, listen, you have Super Bowl aspirations. Like, why are you talking all this smack to a team that like was projected to be a bottom 3 team that's slightly overdoing it? And it was lost at home. Like, this team was blanking you. It took like, some late heroics. I mean, your defense that is regarded as best in the league got lit up by Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo. Like, the Giants don't have great weapons, and they still hung 30-something on your defense that is supposed to be elite and Super Bowl winning. If you can't stop Jackson Dart, how the hell are you going to stop Patrick Mahomes? I mean, so I'd be nervous if I'm a Broncos fan. They've looked terrible the past 2 weeks because they looked really bad in London. I mean, they got the wins, and even early on week 1 against the Titans, like, they're hanging around with some bad teams, almost losing these games. I mean, to win by 1 score against the Titans, Giants, and Jets and almost lose all of them, not ideal.
No, it's not ideal. If you want some fun, go look at there's all these burner accounts like Giants and Broncos, like fan pages with like no face, no name, just like I love Malik Neighbors and Broncos country, like all those accounts just going at each other last week. It was some of the most toxic shit I've ever seen, bro, from like fan bases. And it kind of stemmed from Benito talking smack. Like, I've never seen a more delusional fan base. So yeah, you're right, dude. I don't know why it was such a war between Denver and New York. It was the first time the Giants had played in Denver in 8 years. So a little odd, but hey, Denver got the win. So Giants can't really talk right now.
No, they're not going to talk. All the Giants fans I know, they're respectful. They're just class acts. So
thanks, man. I appreciate that.
I wish we knew some Broncos fans that, like, it would have been funny to see you going at it with some Broncos fans.
I know. We've been talking shit, belt to ass, and then just blowing it in the fourth quarter. But
yeah,
whatever, man. We're moving on from that. I don't want to think about it. Jakobi Meyers tells reporters he, quote, for sure, still wants to be traded. The way this Raider season has gone, just getting the brakes beat off him by Kansas City. They're out of this thing. It seems like it's a smart play to trade Jakobi Meyers. He's approaching 30 years old. He needs a new contract. Your thoughts? Should they trade Jakobi Meyers, and what are some destinations that you think make sense?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely going to trade him. They definitely should trade him. There's no reason to keep him around. It's not like you even have a young quarterback there that you'd want him to be there to help develop. Like, I would imagine there's not a lot of key building blocks left on this team. Like, I even think Max Crosby should be traded, to be honest. Like, he doesn't fit the timeline. Like, really, there's only a few players I could say on this team that you'd actually want to keep around. Some destinations for Myers, I mean, you would want to look at some teams that are potentially contending.
New England.
Or New England's not a bad spot.
With McDaniels.
I mean, I don't think the Giants are contending, but I don't think it would be a bad option to get Dart another weapon over there. San Francisco, with all their injuries right now at the wide receiver position, I could see them trying to make a move just because how depleted they are right now. Even Seattle. Pittsburgh,
Seattle?
Yep.
Yeah, Seattle,
Pittsburgh. Yep. Who else? Baltimore, I think, if they're still going to make a push. I mean, really, a lot of these. Honestly, even Carolina, dude. Like, with how they've looked, like they're looking to be right in that division race right now. Wouldn't be surprised if a team in the North maybe tried to get him as well. Like Green Bay, do they view him as an upgrade over some of the guys they have right now? I would say so. So I think there's a lot of potential suitors because I don't think you're going to have to pay top dollar for him if you do end up trading for him, and I don't think you're going to have to give up much assets to get him.
Yeah, good point. Woody Johnson backs Aaron Glenn, blames, quote, quarterback rating for 0-7 season. He said his rating, and people are making jokes like the Madden rating. Like, no, I think he means like their QBR, their actual quarterback rating. And he says if we can complete a forward pass, we look a lot better. So clearly Woody Johnson is out on Justin Fields, and there's murmurs that it'll be the Tyrod Taylor show in week 8. You're the Jets fan, Reagan. A lot to unpack there.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't care. We suck. The season's over. It's just like, I really don't care. I'd rather them throw out Fields, honestly, because at least he sucks. I don't even know, because Tyrod's more competent. They both suck. I mean, we saw Tyrod come in and just started throwing picks.
Tyrod's been awful, actually, the time he's gotten in the game. Like, when he's
So,
played, he's been statistically one of the worst in football.
So it really doesn't matter. It's either Fields who just holds on to the ball and gets sacked, or it's Tyrod who's like trying to make plays, who throws interceptions. Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong. It's just, I don't know if you want to come out and say that publicly, but it's true. I mean, if you're watching it, like, yeah, the defense hasn't been great, but the big problem is the offense. And when Fields does play, like, he doesn't throw the ball downfield. So I don't know if that's the play calling or if he's just completely cooked. I think Fields had bigger issues before even getting to New York. Like, you can't go the classic, well, the Jets ruined him, because I think he was already damaged before he got here. So I think he's looking to be a career backup, you know. And at this point, hey, we're just we're tanking. So as long as we can get a top 3 pick, I don't really care if we get one, because I don't know. Right now, there's not a clear-cut one, in my opinion. So just keep losing. Just keep losing. I kind of want them to go 0-17 at this point. I think it would be hilarious.
Wow, that's crazy. You want to be the first 0-17 team?
Yeah, it'll make it that much better when you finally win.
Yeah,
it'll make it that much better.
Half glass full, Reagan. Half glass full.
Yeah, I mean, at least if the season's going to be bad, at least make it hilariously bad.
Yeah. Why go 7-10 and miss the playoffs when you could just get the first pick and like
let's go 0-17 and get the first overall pick.
Root against your team every Sunday. All right.
Yeah. I mean, there's no point at this point.
Brandon Graham officially ends his retirement and signs back with the Philadelphia Eagles, a team desperate for pass rush help and maybe some leadership in that locker room. I don't know how much Graham has left in the tank, but certainly can't hurt the Philadelphia Eagles at this point. Do you think he can have a major impact on the field? Or do you think this is more so a situational pass rusher with that leadership mentality to a young defense?
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly that. They just want to get a guy. He probably wants to come back out. I mean, they're going to be in a position to make another Super Bowl, you would think. I mean, yeah, they've had some hiccups already this year, but, they seem like they're fine. I mean, eventually the offensive line will get more healthy and the run game will get going. But even if it doesn't, I mean, this team's going to run away with that division. They're probably going to be a top 3 seed in the NFC. Right now, the way it's shaking out in the West and the North, a lot of those teams haven't played each other yet. So I think they'll start to beat up on each other a little bit. So to me, Philly still probably will get that 1 seed and be in a great spot come playoff time. And it just helps having another veteran in there who's obviously won 2 Super Bowls with them now, been a huge focal point of that, and to get in there and teach those young guys and, be a situational guy.
Jaden Daniels, some injury news. Avoids a serious hamstring injury. Thank God he got in the end zone before leaving the game with the hammy. Still cashing for Big Dog's parlay. Status is uncertain for this week. It seems likely he'll probably miss, and it's going to be the Mariota show, who, threw a very bad pick 6 to Deron Bland, and, not his best showing for sure. But I don't know, man. Commander is in a tough spot. Jaden's struggling to stay healthy. Are you concerned about his long-term outlook?
No, I'm not. I'm not concerned about it. I mean, hey, it was nice he got in. That'd have been pretty nerve-wracking, but to get in right before halftime was huge. I was very, very excited then. Long-term outcome, no. I mean, I still think the Commanders have a great shot to make the playoffs, and they have a lot of toss-up games over the next 3 weeks. I think maybe Mariota can get one of them. If you had Daniels, you could actually go 3-0 during that span. But, to have to play in Kansas City, then to be at home against Seattle and Detroit are tough games. But it gets a little bit easier down the stretch. I mean, then they'll have plenty of division games. I don't know. It really depends how long he's out for. But you might not have the luxury now, being 3-4 to hold him out as much as you'd like. Like, they may have to force him to play because it's night and day between him and Mariota. Like, I don't know if he's getting you more than 1 win during the next 3.
I think they'll be lucky to get 1 win in the next 3.
Yeah, I think they might be able to catch one of, Seattle or Detroit at home. Probably Seattle's the one, because I think they're due for a more of a come down the earth type game.
Valid. Your boy Bryce Young, high ankle sprain, will miss week 8, maybe more, for a guy that really turned the corner at the end of last year and used his legs a lot to get that done. Maybe not as potent on the ground this year, but high ankle sprain, not ideal for a quarterback with his stature that needs to move around a little bit. Man, for the Panthers, things were going up, and now you have to deal with this. Are you concerned about the Panthers? Are you worried about Bryce Young?
No, I'm not.
His injury might linger.
No, I'm not too concerned. I mean, I kind of thought this week would be a loss anyway against Buffalo, getting them off of a bye and, them being so bad of recent, they went into the bye making a ton of adjustments. The nice thing is, too, you have a veteran in Andy Dalton. Like, he's nothing special, but he's still a top-tier backup in this league. So, over the next 2 weeks, you had Buffalo and Green Bay. They're going to be tough matchups anyway. So if he does miss both those games, that's fine because then it softens up a little bit and you get the Saints and Falcons. So, I don't think they need to rush him back. They're sitting pretty right now at 4-3. They can afford to lose the next two. Or hey, we've seen Andy Dalton last year have some big games. Maybe Andy Dalton goes out and steals one of those 2 games, and you're going 5-4 with a home game against New Orleans to bring him back. So I don't see a reason to rush him back.
Agreed. That's a lot of news, but that's all I got from news.
That is some good news.
We got some mailbag now.
Yeah, no, and the mailbags are going to be great. The mailbags are going to be great. So we're going to start it out with Mr. Around the Mr. Around the Bases. That's what we're going to start it out with. He's got some fantasy football questions. So his first question, which player from the top 15 ADP has probably ruined your team if you picked them?
Malik Neighbors, because he tore his ACL. I took him in both of my drafts in top 15. And the one's hanging on for dear life. The other one, I'm lucky I got JSN and Ibuka, so I'm kind of staying afloat. But
not going with the easy answer like that. I would say, Lad McConkey, if you took him in the top 15.
Top 15.
Hurting you. Brian Thomas, if you took him in the top 15.
Nico Collins.
Yeah, Nico Collins, if you took him in the top 15. Because, Neighbors is missing, but that's the easy one. But those guys are still hurting you significantly because they're playing at such a bad level. I mean, Ashton Genty.
Yeah, Genty. Reagan, I actually saw a tweet today. It's like, damn, like RIP, the Nico Collins, Brian Thomas Jr. round 1-2 turn, like championship strategy, because it's been so brutal. Like if you did that, you already lost. You're out. You're already done.
Yeah, they have been absolutely terrible. I mean, I wouldn't be happy about that. Some other guy, even like Jefferson has been terrible. I mean, he's averaging 12.7 a game and half point. Like if you took him in the top 5, you're not happy with that right now.
Derrick Henry.
I mean, I don't think you probably took him in the top 15, but yeah, if you did, just because most like PPR leagues, he's not going in the top 15 because of the lack of the receiving, but that's another good one as well. Yeah, I mean, if you took Drake London, like I think there's better days ahead, but still I wouldn't be thrilled with that either. He's had some good games, but he's had a slow start. But really, I mean, those are kind of the big names that of unfortunate. Now you wouldn't be taking AJ Brown there. But yeah, Ladd for me and Brian Thomas, both guys are under 10 points per game. And if you took them in that mid-second, early second, you are not happy. All right, let's move on. His next question. Which players would potentially get a boost in fantasy production? All right, hold on. Which players would potentially get a boost in fantasy production if they got traded? Breece Hall, for sure.
Definitely Breece Hall. Anyone getting out of that Jets offense could be a home run. Breece Hall in particular, because there's a chance he goes to Kansas City. They're sniffing around the running back market, and then that's just a total home run. I mean, Jakobi Meyers as well, we talked about a little bit earlier. If he gets moved away from the Raiders and Geno Smith, that's a plus. Some other like Kamara, even though he said he wants to stay in the Saints and doesn't want to move. I know like Waddle and Olave
not even playable right now, though.
I know he's really not. I know Waddle and Olave were getting some buzz about getting moved, but like with the way Olave is playing, like does he even get that big of a boost being the clear number 1 target? Same thing with Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, no, I would say those guys don't. Kamara definitely does. I mean, he has really not even been double-digit fantasy points as of recent. He's been just brutal. He's averaging 9 per game in half-point scoring, and that's a guy that has always smashed that number with his receiving upside. But, he hasn't broken – he's only broken double digits once since week 2.5 point scoring, and his targets are like at 5 a game. So definitely not a guy that you love to see. So if he were to get traded, that's another one. I don't think there's any quarterbacks that get traded, probably no tight ends, but those are just a short list. I mean, if the Panthers ultimately decided to move Hubbard, which I don't think they would because they just gave him the big extension.
And he's a team captain.
Yeah, so I don't see that happening. I think him and Daddle are both going to be there. I don't really see any other running backs
Maybe
getting
Kenneth
moved.
Walker, contract year.
Yeah, I could see him getting moved. I mean, that's an ugly
But they're
backfield as
good,
well.
and they want
They're
to run the
good, and the
ball.
backfield's ugly though. Like both guys are just like so mid. I mean, if the Tony Pollard or Spears gets moved, probably, if they end up moving one of them, yeah, I mean, it can't get much worse. But then again, are they going to get the kind of volume where they go?
Probably not.
So, all right, let's move on. He wants to know, what is the most matchup-proof defense to have for the rest of the season? I would have told you a week ago, the Denver Broncos. Now I don't know, because I was licking my chops at that matchup, and that did not go over well. Because while I think Dart's great, I didn't think he was going to be able to do what he did to them in that game. So yeah, definitely not going to go with Denver anymore. I'm definitely going to be potentially pivoting. I mean, you might, like, Seattle has been great, man. I mean, they're averaging 9.71 a game. Same with Houston. Houston's averaging 10.1. Like, both Seattle and Houston are great options right now. Like, I mean, it's kind of hard because, like, I ultimately will side with a good offense over them. But looking at Seattle's schedule, I mean, there's no games I'm, like, too worried about. Like, I'd still start them against the Rams, even though, like, they're good, and, like, Indianapolis, like, I would still start them against, and they still have, like, Tennessee a couple times, Arizona, Washington, who might be with Mariota. So Seattle would be one. If they're in your leagues, you might want to try to pick them up. You might be able to play them the rest of the way.
I actually picked up Seattle in 2 leagues, and I'm holding 2 defenses, both those leagues. I'm like, wait, these guys just keep getting it done for me. I can't drop them back to the waivers. So I've been holding the Seahawks in a couple leagues. I mean, they're 6th in points allowed per game, so that'll play. Houston is technically first at 14.7 points per game. Obviously they have a really damn good secondary. Will Anderson, Daniel Hunter at the pass rusher. So, yeah, Houston's another good one as well.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so that's all Caleb had. Let's move on. Next up, we got Walmart. First up, once again, life is pain, but I'm alive in all my leagues at the moment. Who is an easy buy low candidate in Dynasty leagues long term?
Buy low candidate, Dynasty leagues long term. It's a loaded question. Walmart actually has made a big rebound in our Dynasty league, going from last place to now being in second place and not making any moves, not making any trades. Just get it done. Just figuring it out. His pep talks before the games must be working well. Man, I don't know. Is there anyone that comes to mind for you that's considered a buy low right now, like long term?
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, I think you could probably buy low on, like I bought low on guys like Olave and Pickens before the season started. I don't know if you can necessarily do that right now, because I knew in the moment it might not be great, but I figured the long-term outcome would be good. Like, I traded Puka away for those guys, and it ended up working out okay, because Pickens has been like close to Puka's level, and Olave's been great as well. So looking at it now, I'm like, at the time I was like, did I love that? Maybe not, but I mean, I always would look for a guy that, maybe look at some running backs that could take over, like if there's a one-year rental on the team. Like Braylon Allen is a guy that you could buy low right now.
Yeah.
With Breece Hall in the last year of his deal. And then, Braylon Allen being slated to be the starter probably next year. That's a guy I would look at, because you could buy him really cheap. He's injured. And I don't think you're going to have to pay much. Like, you could probably give up like a 3rd-round pick in a future draft and get him, and you may have a starting running back next year.
I was going to say Breece Hall, because I think he's going to get paid elsewhere and get out of that Jets offense. So it kind of goes hand in hand with you, where both of ours play if Breece Hall does leave the Jets, whether that's next week or whether that's after the season.
I don't know if you're buying him cheap in Dynasty, because I think people know that. Like,
yeah, but he's got no touchdowns. He hasn't really been productive. Like, he hasn't been, even at last year, he wasn't close to his 2023 level where he was RB2. So, I also saying that as the Breece Hall holder in the league I'm in with Walmart. So if you want Breece Hall, Walmart, my line's open.
I would also look at some running backs in situations where it's like they might take over, soon. Like, we don't know how long the guy in front of him is going to be there. Yeah, like RJ Harvey, I'd be looking to get, potentially knowing that he'll eventually take over. So you might be able to pivot on that. Honestly, Caleb Johnson, you could try and just go trade for. Like, who knows what'll work out there, but I would say his value is at an all-time low right now. can't get any worse for him. I mean, even some wide receivers, like maybe you go out and try to get Brian Thomas Jr. on the cheap. Maybe you try to go out and get Lad McConkey on the cheap right now, knowing like, hey, they might figure it out in the second half of the year. If they don't, it's like still long-term, like we see the talents there. It's just they're struggling a little bit this year. Maybe a guy like Jaden Reed, who's injured right now, or a guy like Mike Evans, like you could probably go get Mike Evans for cheap, and you know he's going to come back next year and have a big impact.
Good point.
So, all right. He also wants to know what are some sell high candidates right now?
Man. I mean,
I would say all
Pickens.
old guys. Old guys. No, he's talking about for Dynasty. I don't think you sell high on George Pickens because he's going to play himself into a massive contract. Somebody's going to pay him to be the number one, and we see what he does as the number one with a competent quarterback. If he goes to a situation that's a competent quarterback, what's to say he can't continue to do this next year?
But you don't know. Like, that's the thing.
Don't.
It's like you weren't comfortable having him as your wide receiver 1 or 2 when he was in Pittsburgh. You are in Dallas with Dak Prescott, who's matchup proof, especially with CeeDee Lamb. But he has the same agent as Micah Parsons, David Mulligetta. So, like, that might be a factor at the end of the year. The Cowboys going to want to pay him a shit ton of money when they're paying CeeDee Lamb a shit ton of money. So you don't know where he's going to go.
Yeah, I would be holding it just in case, especially if Lamb misses any more time this year. Guys, I'd be selling high on at the tight end position. I would sell Jake Ferguson because I think, just speaking on the same team, CeeDee Lamb's going to be back, so I think a lot of his volume is going to go down. You saw like in week 1 and 2, or in week 1 against Philly, he didn't do a whole lot, and then all of a sudden, as soon as Lamb went down, his targets went up. So this last weekend, he still had 7 catches for 29 yards. He was just bailed out with the 2 touchdowns. I never want to bank on touchdowns. If he doesn't get that, you're looking at a guy that had 7 catches for 29 yards. He wasn't getting a ton of that downfield volume, so he's a guy I'm trying to sell high on. At the running back position, there's not a whole lot. I mean, I hate to keep harping on the Cowboys, but Javonte Williams has been like next level. I think you could probably sell high on him. I don't know
agreed.
if I love his long-term dynasty outlook. Other guys you could probably try to sell high on, like Rico Dowdle. I mean, he's on a 1-year deal. You could try to sell him right now and be like, listen, he's had 3 back-to-back games of over 100 scrimmage yards. Even with Chuba there, you could see the tides are changing, but ultimately I wouldn't want him long-term for dynasty.
What about C.J. Stroud? He still has kind of that name based on his rookie year, but he wasn't even a highly
probably
placed
selling low on him
quarterback
right now.
In fantasy. I guess.
I wouldn't see. He's kind of shit.
I'm just not really interested in C.J. Stroud long term.
Keenan Allen's a guy you could sell high on. He's been putting up some pretty big production this year. I mean, long term, he's not going to have many more good years left. So if you're a team that's probably not contending, you might as well sell him for some picks. I mean, right now he's the number 8 fantasy wide receiver. Other guys in that same sentiment,
Quentin
like
Johnston, but he's young.
Yeah, it's tough.
Do you believe in him? Do you believe in the player? That's kind of the thing that it comes down to.
I mean, I believe in the fact that Justin Herbert's going to be there for a long time, and his quarterback play is going to be consistent. That's probably there's not a whole lot, but yeah, I mean, anyone that's like kind of aging, Devontae Adams as well. Like, I have a team that I'm contending, so I'm probably not trying to trade him. But if you're like a team that's not contending, right now he's the number 7 fantasy receiver. Get rid of him. Sell high on him. Because especially, and I would do it now while Puka's out, like, and he's putting up these big numbers without Puka. Like, it's clear he's the number 2 there, and Puka's going to get all the volume. And Devontae Adams, like, yeah, he'll get some stuff in the red zone, but he's not going to be this big reception guy. So I would definitely sell high on Devontae Adams right now as well.
All right, man. That wraps up all of our questions from the mailbag. We appreciate you gentlemen submitting. Oh, it doesn't. I thought that was it.
No, I was taking a sip of water. We have a couple more.
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah, let's keep it ripping.
He wants to go, not a betting question, but rank the NFC East quarterbacks 1 through 4. There's an argument to be had about that man in Jerry's world.
Dak Prescott being number 1.
Is that what he's saying? I'm going Jalen 1, Dak 2, Jaden 3, Dart 4. I don't care. I'm still taking Hurts because at the end of the day, this guy's won a Super Bowl. And part of me wants to put Jaden before Dak because of what he did in the playoffs last year. I just haven't seen it yet this year. So I'm not saying he's going to be another CJ Stroud, but he's given me a little pause early on this year, and Dak has been on fire. And it's just too early with Dart to put him anywhere before. But from what I've seen so far, he definitely looks like, he's got that it factor, and this division's going to have 4 great quarterbacks for a long time.
I was going to say, dude, when you actually put them all 4 out, you're like, damn, bro. Like, that's legit. Like, the next decade in the NFC East is going to be a gauntlet, it seems like right now. I actually just had this conversation, and this past weekend with somebody between Hurts and Dak. And I'm like, shit. I mean, they both have had MVP caliber regular seasons before. Dak's probably put up more gaudy stats, definitely with his arm. But the thing I always come back to is he's never got it done when it mattered, and even like
not even close to getting it done.
Advanced, So like for me, like that matters. It's not everything, but it matters. So I have to give the nod to Jalen. Fuck, dude. So hard, like, because I could almost argue Jaden Daniels is 1 too. I mean, he doesn't have a Super Bowl, obviously, but going to the NFC Championship as a rookie is unbelievable, and I think he's got more with his arm than Jalen does. But Jalen's got that it factor. He's a winner. But Jaden won 12 games as a rookie.
Mine's out of respect for the other two. It's just so early. Like, it's hard to put Daniels and Dart up there yet, where they have such a small sample size where the other two.
I know. Like, I'm going to put Dart 4. He's played 5 games. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Jaden won Offensive Rookie of the Year. Dak's been MVP caliber. Jalen's won a Super Bowl, right? So,
yeah.
I'll probably go Jalen, Jaden, Dak.
Wow, Jalen over. Wait, Jalen's 1.
Jalen's 1.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Jaden 1. I was like, wow.
No, I'll go Jaden 2. I think Jaden just, I just think he's got everything he needs. Like, Dak's going to light it up in the regular season and chuck the ball around the yard. He's also in shootouts every week. But I'm going to give it to Jaden Daniels over him.
Yeah, that's huge. All right, let's move on to Crampton. He wants to know, what is going on with Rome Odunze?
Oh, couple bad weeks after scoring a ton of touchdowns. I know like 2 weeks ago he threw up that dud, but his air yards were like ridiculous.
Last week too.
Yeah, I mean 2 weeks ago, but his the air yards were there. They kept chucking the ball downfield to him, couldn't complete it. Almost had a touchdown. And now you've had 2 weeks in a row where you're kind of like, not ideal. Like, but that's the thing. It's like you can't just score touchdowns every goddamn week. He scored 5 touchdowns in his first 4 games. Like, that's not going to keep up. And it sucks that he threw up duds against Washington and New Orleans, like not elite secondaries by any stretch of the means. But he also has Baltimore, Cincinnati, and the Giants coming up. So those are 3 good matchups, a lot secondaries to expose.
I'm nervous, honestly.
But if you actually take away the touchdowns, the production's not been awesome.
Only 24 catches. It's just a lot of big plays. I'm nervous. Because and
less than a 50% catch rate on his targets too. Now that I look at it,
you know why I'm nervous about Rome, and it's not just him. It's DJ Moore as well. It's if you're looking at the tight ends, I guess you're probably not. Luther Burden's a dynasty stash. So really, I'm nervous about DJ Moore and Rome Odunze, and even Caleb Williams at this point for fantasy because they went into the bye week, and granted, New Orleans has not the best run defense, but they came out and ran the ball 40 times after a bye week to Caleb Williams' 26 passing attempts. I think Ben Johnson's making a conscious effort to say, hey, we want to run the ball more. We want to have that 1-2 punch with Swift and Monangai, which looked great. And I'm pissed at myself because I dropped Monangai in a league. And, of course, as soon as I drop him, he gets 13 carries for 81 yards and a touchdown. But that looked like a nice – and it's not close to Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, but it looked similar to that where he had the nice 1-2 punch, the speedster and Swift, and then the bruiser and Monangai that, it's like Montgomery, where I think maybe that's where this Bears offense is shifting, that they want to run the ball more and take some weight off of Caleb Williams' shoulders. And if you're a Moore owner and a Odunze owner, that does not bode well for you because even in that game against the Commanders, they had 27 carries to 29 attempts, but that's a major shift. We'll see. This Baltimore game will be very telling, but if they're able to hang around, it might be another case of running the ball a lot. I mean, you need to hope that the Ravens offense is putting up a bunch of points and they're trailing. But I think if they have it their way, they're going to try to run the ball a lot. And I think this Bears team's a lot better than people expected. So, yeah. All right. He also wants to know, who is a sell high player you are looking to move? So let's treat this one as redraft. So who's a sell high player that you were looking to move? I would say, honestly, I want nothing to do with Philly right now. So I would try to sell high on A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith right now. I was
going to say Saquon Barkley. It popped in my mind.
I don't think you're selling high on him.
It's not, but it's Saquon Barkley, though. It's the name. It's the 2,000 yards last year. Like, that's what still holds weight, not the fact that he's had a couple bad games in a row, in my opinion. Like, you don't have to have 3 good games in a row to be considered selling high. You could still sell high in the name and the brand of a player and what they've done historically.
Yeah, I mean, I would just be selling high on this whole offense. Like, I would try to get out of it while I can. I mean, outside of Hurts, he'll be fine for fantasy. But, there's just so many disappearing acts with this offense. I want nothing to do with it. Javante's another guy I'd probably sell high on. I don't think he's going to stay at that 17 points per game pace. Scatabo is another guy I would probably sell high on right now. Like, he's been out of this world good right now, but he's averaging 15 points a game. The volume's there, but I don't love the offense. The schedule is going to get harder. I think teams are going to start to queue in. So I think you could sell really high on him. Even Judkins, who I love a lot, but same situation with Scatabo, like not a great offense that I'm going to believe in long term with a lot of hard games coming up. And it's like when you look outside, the weapons aren't great. So teams are going to queue in and be like, hey, this rookie with some juice, let's stack the box. So I think right now would be a good time to sell high. Rico Dowdle, another guy, sell high on. I mean, it's going to be a timeshare between him and Hubbard. And I think right now, the longer you wait, his value is going to decrease and decrease and decrease. So those are some running backs. I mean, the wide receivers, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's not wide receivers I'm looking at necessarily for redraft that I want to sell high on right now. Like all the guys that are kind of near the top, I'm kind of keeping. Like I see your case for Pickens and why you say that you could do that with CD coming back. In the tight ends, I keep harping on Ferguson just because he's been at such a high pace right now. Like he's averaging 13.5 points per game. Do we think that's going to keep up when they have Pickens and Lamb both out there? I don't. So you could sell high on the fact that this is the number one fantasy tight end, better than Trey McBride. And a guy I honestly, speaking of tight end, or I guess we'll get a note later actually, but it's a good question. And his final one, and I'm assuming this is for fantasy football. He didn't say that it was or wasn't, but we'll treat it for fantasy football for redraft specifically. Keep, trade, cut. J.K. Dobbins, Kenneth Walker, Travis Etienne.
Wow.
I know what my answer is. I'm keeping Etienne. I believe in the talent of him. I think, they'll figure it out in Jacksonville. I think there's going to be some big adjustments. You saw when they had some success early on, it was because him having a big factor in the run game. So I think there's going to be some shift where they're trying to get him involved more in the running game and not relying so much on Trevor Lawrence. I am going to trade Dobbins right now, just because he's getting all the volume right now. Like RJ Harvey has not been involved that much right now. If RJ Harvey was more involved, I'd say I'm going to trade Kenneth Walker, but ultimately I'm cutting Kenneth Walker just because Charbonnet is way too involved right now. Like it is a gross split right now where both guys really aren't great. Neither guy's been super efficient. Walker's the more efficient one, but Charbonnet is getting all the goal line work right now. And ultimately, neither guy has been great. I mean, they're both like, I was looking, Charbonnet's averaging 9.5 points per game for half point. Walker's 10.2. So neither guy's great. I mean, I guess where you drafted Charbonnet, it's not bad, but where you drafted Walker, you're not happy with that. So I'm trading it, or I'm cutting that. I want nothing to do with that backfield. But what about you?
Oh, that hurts, dude, because I love Kenneth Walker. Go Sparty. Rocking Sparty right now. And it sucks because, like, with Walker and Charbonnet, like, Walker's actually running the ball better, but is not involved in the receiving game at all. And Charbonnet takes the touchdowns. So, and as we talked about earlier, they're a team that's winning right now and they want to run the ball, but to that point, they're winning games. So why would they change that? So, like, I never want to cut Kenneth Walker. That's my dog. But there's no doubt that J.K. Dobbins has more of a share of the backfield. I mean, they did take R.J. Harvey in the second round, so who knows? But he seems to be getting the ball in some more unique situations, and they're kind of funneling touches for him in ways that they want to and letting Dobbins do the work between the tackles. I mean, I agree, Etienne. I was so high on him before the season, so of course I'm going to keep him. I hate to say it. I have to agree with your three.
Yeah, I think there's better days ahead for all of them, to be honest, because they're all kind of that same tier where they've had some flashes. I just think ultimately for me it's easy because one of the guys is in a timeshare and the other guys have two rookies behind them that have shown some flashes but ultimately haven't cut into their workload enough.
Exactly. Yeah.
Where there's one guy here that is in a full-blown timeshare. And the bad side of the timeshare too, to be in fact. I mean, if you're in a timeshare, you want the timeshare part where you're getting the receiving work and the goal line stuff. So he's getting only the bad parts of the timeshare, which is the first and second down work, not in the red zone, which is the worst part. So.
I love the tweets where it's like just a couple of guys getting a full point PPR point, and it's like, it's a running back just shredding through 4 tackles and getting 10 yards, and then it's like the receiving back just catching a ball in the flat and getting tackled right away, and they're each 1 point. So it's like, yeah, like you look at Walker's game log, like his actual rushing production is so much better, but when you're not catching the football and you're not scoring the touchdowns, it doesn't matter, dude. You're not getting enough carries to go for over 100 yards most weeks anyways, and you're kind of chalked. Like, if you're a running back that's not going to catch the football, you need those touchdowns to be startable every week, and he's just not getting them.
No, he is not. But that's right. That wraps up all the questions. So, some great questions tonight for this fantasy-inspired midseason award pod.
Wow, we went 15 minutes after you were drinking your water, and I thought we were done. So that's fucking crazy. I mean, we're 45 minutes in. We haven't even gotten to the meat of the pod, boys. Let's go.
Got some good questions. What can you say?
Yeah, I mean, we did touch on a lot of the fantasy stuff. So, I mean, that's kind of where we're going with tonight's episode. So, we're going to start with the quarterback position. We're going to do, for each position, MVP, someone to trade away, someone to trade for. And this is with the redraft mindset, correct?
Reagan? Yeah, redraft mindset, yep.
Surprise positive, surprise negative, right? Start with the quarterback's MVP.
Oh, and did you base yours off a half or full?
They're kind of universal in my mind, to be honest with you, because you're looking position by position. So, like, it plays either way. So, MVP, quarterback, what do you think?
Yeah, for me, so I took a different perspective than Colin may have. I kind of, for all my MVPs, I did it more so of factoring in ADP, because to me, like, are we going to sit here and say, Jamar Chase, who's been great for the wide receivers, averaging, 17.2 a game, is the MVP when he went first overall? No, that's not how I view an MVP. So mine was based off their ADP, and mine so far is none other than Daniel Jones, who is a QB5 right now, averaging 20 points a game, and in most leagues, if not all leagues, was not drafted, and is leading debatable, if not the best offense in the league right now. He's been awesome, getting it done. A lot of 20-point games. I mean, and honestly, I feel like there's a lot that's been taken away because there's a lot of Jonathan Taylor rushing touchdowns that have been snaked away from him. But he adds it through his legs a little bit, but his arm has looked great. This offense is great. And right now they seem matchup proof, and the schedule's not bad either down the stretch. So he's a guy I'm looking to pick up in leagues, and he's a guy that's been my fantasy MVP at the quarterback position so far.
Shout out to DJ, Daniel Jones. Dude's awesome. Really happy for him. He's balling out.
That comeback player of the year award, baby.
Yeah. He's like, hey, for all these people that maybe didn't expect this. And then DJ goes, yeah, well, y'all must have not known much. I'm like, yeah, talk your shit, DJ. Talk your shit. It's a great pick, and your comeback player of the year bet looks fucking amazing right now. I'd be curious if there's a cash out on that. Not that you should take it.
I don't have one.
Not that I would take it. I'm just so curious on what it is. As long as he's healthy, I think he has it in the bag right now. I went with Patrick Mahomes, who's QB1 on the season. Might seem chalky, but when he's going as QB 6, 7, 8 in fantasy drafts later than a lot of these quarterbacks, and he did all of this without his full arsenal up until last week, is just, I mean, that's why he's considered one of the greatest of all times. His rushing upside compared to prior years is not something I expected, but has certainly been a major, major plus. Now that you got Rashee Rice, which we already saw how much they want to use him in the red zone last week. Big Dogs Parlay. Let's go, Rashee. I mean, guy scored twice, right? Now he's got him in the picture with Worthy and Hollywood Brown and Travis Kelce. Wait for them to add a running back at the deadline, dude. And this run game can get going. And then, shit, the Chiefs might be up there for one of the best offenses in the league yet again after a couple years where they weren't up there. So, Pat Mahomes, if you took him in round 6 or 7 and you built up the rest of your roster beforehand instead of going quarterback early, I guarantee you got a winning record and you're in the playoffs right now.
I do. I'm 6-1 on the team I took him in. I will say real quick, just to speak to that more, and being a fantasy owner of him, 5 out of the 7 games, he has 26 or more points. So that just tells you.
Insane.
Yeah.
He's got the
other ones
upside.
Really, just that one game against the Giants. Outside of that, he's been a beast, over 20 and on the rest of the games, or 22 to be in fact. So good. So good.
Trade away. What popped into your mind? What quarterback should people be getting rid of now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying Stafford here because he's been playing a lot better than I think he'll ultimately finish. He's right now the QB9, averaging 19 points a game. He has no mobility at all, so you don't get the rushing upside. And he's had a lot of passing touchdowns. He had 5 in London. He's had a couple of 3 or more. But normally, Kyron gets a lot of the goal line rushing touchdowns where they've been passing a lot more. So I think there's some regression coming. I mean, he did this without Puka as well, so that also helps you. But I just don't want Stafford long term. Like, he's a great guy to play, in based off of the matchups and stuff. But if you have him right now, I think you can sell high on him right now, and the fact that he probably won't finish as a top 12 quarterback when it's all said and done.
I went with Kyler Murray, which kind of goes hand in hand with my do not draft before the season. And now I feel even more confident in that call because I was concerned week 11 on in that schedule and what they're looking at. And you're more so thinking about trying to win a championship. Who's he got in the playoffs? What happens late October every year? He falls apart. Well, now this year, he doesn't have a single week in which he placed higher than QB 16 in 5 starts. And he's dealing with a foot injury, which could affect his mobility for the rest of the season. Easy get out for me.
Yeah. No, that's a good one. That's a good one as well. I definitely, if you can get out at this point, like, you might just have to drop him. That's how bad it's going for him right now.
Yeah, that's true. I actually had someone tell me today, a coworker, they're like, yeah, I'm thinking about picking up Jackson Dart. I'm like, who do you got at quarterback? He's like, I got 3, and one of them was Murray. He's like, I'm just going to drop Murray. I'm like, damn, dropping Kyler Murray. Never thought we'd be at this point. Like, yeah, I mean, and they got to bye this week, and then his status is uncertain for week 9. So then you're kind of getting to the gauntlet of the defensive schedule and real Call of Duty territory, and we're in trouble. Trade 4. Who's the guy that you want to target?
Yeah, there's a couple different quarterbacks I want to target. But ultimately, I would say, I mean, it was tough for me because there's a lot of guys up top that, have the rushing upside and stuff, like, you're not going to go out and get like a Jalen Hurts or a Josh Allen. So you had to kind of look in that tier right now. But I've kind of loved what I've seen from Drake May right now. And you might be buying high on him, but his legs have been there. He's been fully utilized as a runner right now. The passing's been there. I mean, and honestly, looking at the numbers, like, he has 4 games now, almost 5 of over 20 points per game. And recently, his past 2, he's had 23 and 27. I mean, he's getting close to 300 yards passing, but a lot of touchdowns, only 3 turnovers this year. So he's not turning over the ball a lot, and he's getting rushing touchdowns. So Drake May is a guy I want more of, and I would be trying to acquire.
I agree 100% there. I'm going to go with Jackson Dart, the Giants rookie quarterback. In the last 4 weeks, QB 11, 16, 3, and 3 against the Chargers, the Saints, the Eagles, and the Broncos. Those are some damn good football teams, some damn good defenses. Just the last 2 weeks, the Giants scoring over 30 points in both games against the Eagles and the Broncos. 2 legit teams. I think it just proves that Jackson Dart is almost matchup proof with his rushing upside. And I don't know how Vegas keeps having him at plus 300, plus 350, plus 400 to score every week. He's unbelievable with the legs and kind of the way he can maneuver around the pocket and find that rushing lane. And as a Giants fan, I have seen this team over the past 5 years barely touch 30 points in a game. Like, barely. The fact he's doing it without Malik Neighbors, and you got little Jordan Humphrey and Jalen Hyatt running routes now, is a really good sign. He's only going to get better. He did it against Denver on the road. That's like a gauntlet. That's insane. And there's a lot of talk that a wide receiver could be on the way. Usually not the case for a 2-5 team, but for a regime that's desperate to help their young quarterback and prove why they should keep their jobs, they might pull the trigger on a wide receiver and get him some help. So I think Jackson Dart, dude, like, if he's not shown he's matchup proof thus far, I don't know what else he needs to do.
Yeah, no, hey, the rushing ability's definitely been there. You see he's involved. My pause for hesitancy is just the fact that they have no weapons around him. But I think for Dynasty, I know we're focusing on redraft, but if you do have him in a Dynasty league, I'd be very excited to see what this guy can do when he has Malik Neighbors back next year, and hopefully they continue to add more weapons.
Who's your big surprise in the positive light, Reagan?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously went with Daniel Jones for my MVP, but I'll give you a different one here. But in a positive light, I've been very surprised with, honestly, Bo Nix. I mean, Bo Nix has been very good, and a lot of his numbers have come from this past week.
39 will help. That'll help.
But I mean, I've been surprised because I didn't know if he had that like top 5 ability, but it definitely makes me excited for what he can do going forward after that. I mean, you saw his legs were very much involved, so he may just mess around with his rushing upside and finish as a top 5 quarterback when it's all said and done.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I mean, a 40 bomb will help, but yeah, I mean, it's again the young quarterbacks with the rushing that we didn't see it as much in college, but now you're seeing it more in the league, and that really translates. My big surprise is Drake May for a lot of the reasons that you had him to trade for, guy. I mean, he was in that QB 12 to 15-ish range before the season. To be top 5 right now with the lack of weapons. I mean, he's QB3 right now. That's ridiculous. Of course, we know about his rushing upside. He's showing off that big-time arm talent. He just looks like a stud. He looks like one of the next top echelon quarterbacks in the league. And that offensive line is really helping him out. Like Henderson hasn't even been unlocked yet, which can add a different element to the offense potentially, as a receiver, right? Because it's not like Ramondre's doing a good job as the bruising back, but you can even get Henderson involved more as a receiver and kind of see what he can do. And we talked about earlier, maybe Jakobi Meyers with Josh McDaniels as the OC in New England, adding another weapon for him. But yeah, dude, I mean, Drake May, I knew he was going to be good. I didn't think he'd be this good in fantasy given what was around him this season.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I'm saying I would go out and get him, so I'm all about Drake May as well.
Kid's a stud. Negative surprise.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely been some negatives. And I don't know how high people were on him coming into it. I have him in some underdog leagues, but Tua has been garbage. I mean, he's probably going to get benched.
Yeah.
I mean, he's only averaging 11.5 this year. I mean, I think some people probably would have taken the chance on him just because, I mean, on paper, he did have some great weapons coming into the year. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Devon Achane. But yeah, he has been brutal. One game over 20 points, but recently 6.6, negative 1.4. I mean, at this point, he's like shouldn't even be picked up on your teams. He should be sitting pretty on your waivers.
Agree wholeheartedly. And you can't even blame just not having Tyreek Hill because I think it would be a dumpster fire with Tyreek Hill right now. So I agree there. Mine is Justin Fields. He's QB 19, but he obviously missed a couple games. And he's had some monster games, like 28, 29 points. I believe he's done that 3 times. But he just got benched. When you consider the contract the Jets gave him, a 2-year deal that is getting benched after 7 weeks, even with those 3 massive games he had for fantasy, awful. And he was going in that 10 to 12 range as well. And you kind of saw what he can do and what you were hoping for with using his legs, even when they weren't winning games, but being a stud in fantasy. But damn, dude, if you drafted him and he's benched now and like you can never start Tyrod Taylor. It's not like you pick up Tyrod Taylor off waivers and be like, yeah, I'm good. I got a new starting quarterback. Like it's not how it's going to work in this offense, especially with no Garrett Wilson right now. So yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that they pulled the plug this early on him. I'm not surprised that he was struggling as a passer, but I thought some of the performances and how Aaron Glenn was trying to protect him earlier in the year, especially in the media, kind of would give him a longer leash.
Yeah, I mean, it's gotten really bad for him. I mean, he's had some good games early on, but recently, and now that he's benched, I mean, yeah, that's obviously, you weren't expecting that for fantasy. I mean, only averaging to 15 points per game, but recently, I mean, back-to-back 4-point games. It's funny, he has 3 games of over 25 and 3 games of below 5. So he is the definition of boom or bust.
which we knew, but the booms
like,
are just
no, we didn't
so
think.
fun. They're so addicting. It's like, I'm going to start him again. I need
Yeah.
a 30 bomb out of my QB. And,
definitely
shit, he
had
got benched. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
All right, that wraps up the quarterbacks. Moving on to the RBs. Your
Let's
MVP.
get it.
I mean, shit, there's so many good ones to pick from. I mean, my mindset is, pick your poison. Christian McCaffrey, the receiving upside. I mean, holy shit. Even with the injuries there. Jonathan Taylor, touchdown machine. Bijan Robinson has been unbelievable. Jahmyr Gibbs coming off a 200-yard game. So is McCaffrey as well. I mean, they're all awesome.
Yeah. I mean, an MVP for me from a different perspective, like I was saying. And it's funny because I'm going to bring him up again later, but through 7 games, only taking that into consideration, I mean, Javonte Williams really has been an MVP for your fantasy teams. I mean, he's averaging 17 points a game right now. You know, he probably in most leagues was drafted in that 7th, 8th round, and you didn't know what it was going to look like, but he's fully taken over that backfield, and he's been good. He's been really good. I mean, the 6 touchdowns, over 100 carries, you know, almost 600 rushing yards. He's been involved as a receiver as well. Like, he's a full-blown 3-down back, and he's been an MVP for me. In that same light, I'm going to talk about it later, something else with him, but through 7 weeks, he's been my MVP because, you know, the rest of the guys in front of him, like the Gibbs, A-Chain, Jacobs, Robinson, McCaffrey, and Taylor, they were second-round picks. And then James Cook is in that conversation as well. What's the difference? Who's the outlier? It's the guy that was taken in the 7th, 8th round, not the other guys who were taken in 1 through 3 rounds. So that's why I went with him.
You kind of touched on it earlier, too. It's going to be the tradable way.
Yeah. I mean, you know what I'm going to say after. But, I mean, both things can be true. Like, you can sell high on him, and he can also be an MVP. I don't think he'll keep it ongoing, but these are midseason awards. This is not who we're predicting to finish where they're at, you know, so.
Yeah. So you just touched on it. Trade away. It's the next conversation point here. So why do you think he's trade away? I mean, you already talked about it earlier.
I just don't think he's going to, I just ultimately don't think he's going to stay at that pace. And you can honestly sell him on the fact that, hey, look, this guy's getting all the work. So I think you can use him to get a better piece elsewhere or package him with another piece to get a massive upgrade and get one of those top tier running backs. So I would just sell high on the fact that he's getting all this volume. I mean, the guy's had double-digit touches, and really it looks like 15 plus touches between rushing and receiving in every game. So, and there's no threat. Like, Blue sucks. Sanders is out. Maffa is still out. Like, there's nobody there that's even competing to take the job, which was a big worry coming into the season. And the reason why his ADP where it was because we didn't know how this backfield would shake up. I mean, me and you honestly thought one of these rookies would have taken over by now, but he's got a stronghold on it and seems like he's going to play himself into a nice contract, whether it's with Dallas or somebody else next year.
Yeah, dude. I mean, he's RB7 of the season. That was my surprise plus. So I'll just knock it out now that we're talking about Javonte Williams. I mean, you know, I was so out on him. Like, he was he last year was towards the bottom in like every running back metric that matters, like yards per carry, yards after contact, explosive run rate. And that was with Denver's offensive line, which is the top 3 run blocking unit in the league last year. So I didn't think he still had this in him after the knee injury, but just needed some more time to recover. So got to tip the cap, man. Admit where I was wrong. I was completely wrong on Javonte Williams and what he could do this season. I mean, I didn't take him in any league because I just thought he was a garbage back. So, hey, I mean, good for him. He's gotten it done. The rookie backs have not been able to get a stronghold of that. And I know Dallas was potentially like a running back destination for a trade, like a Breece Hall. I saw that float around before the season. And now I don't understand why Dallas would give up any assets to go get a running back.
Yeah, no, they shouldn't. And I don't think they will. But who's your trade away guy?
Back to my trade away. I touched on this a little bit earlier, but Saquon Barkley, he's RB14 on the season. All of his metrics are just significantly down from last year. I don't even know if a lot of that is his fault. I mean, I'm probably one of the biggest Saquon Barkley haters you'll ever meet, but he's still on my fantasy team because no one gave me a good offer. And I'm like, there's no denying he's a top 3 talent at the position and went for 2,000 yards last year. But the offensive line is just not at the same caliber. I mean, they were the number 1 offensive line in terms of creating yards before contact in 2024. Now they're kind of in the middle of the pack. And that's why Barkley's yard per carry is down in the low 3s instead of up towards the 5 range like it was last year. And there's clearly something wrong with this new play caller and the offense and what they're doing because the receivers are pissed. And then Barkley's not getting involved. He doesn't have a single game over 20 fantasy points yet. And, of course, Jalen Hurts is going to keep pushing his way and taking a lot of touchdowns, which didn't matter last year. But when the offense is not firing at all cylinders like it was last year, you're kind of dealing with what you're dealing with now. You don't have the same kind of flexibility where you could bank on Barkley, break one off for 70 yards. Just have not seen that happen yet. Granted, I do think it's coming. I hope not this upcoming week against my Giants, but I do think it's coming. And I don't know. I just think you could still sell high in the name of Saquon Barkley in the 2,000 yards. And if it gets to like week 11, week 12, you might be shit out of luck.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. I'm a little worried about Saquon too, so I'd be trying to pivot if I can and still sell high on that name.
Who you want to trade for at this point in time?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like Jaylen Warren a lot, honestly. I mean, I know Gainwell's involved, but after seeing what he just did against Cincinnati, on Thursday Night Football, he was heavily involved in both facets. I mean, he's gotten double-digit carries in every game. And in the receiving game, he's always going to be involved. And Rodgers historically has always loved his receivers in the passing game. So I want some more of Jaylen Warren, and I don't hate their schedule down the stretch. But I think this guy's matchup proof, honestly. Like, I think he'll be getting the pure volume, and he's a good runner. Like, I was always kind of thought he was a thorn in Najee's side, but he's just better than Najee Harris. He's a good back. It kind of reminds me of when it was Eckler and Melvin Gordon in with the Chargers, and then the guy balled out when the other guy left, and you were like, oh, wait, no, it was the other way around. The other guy was a thorn in his side. This guy's actually really good. So Jaylen Warren's a guy I would like to get in a lot of leagues right now, and I'm trying to go out and get.
That's a really good one. Obviously off a really good game last week, and Caleb Johnson has not posed a threat. So
yeah, that's the thing. Gainwell doesn't scare me at all.
I'm on board there. My trade for is Omarion Hampton. On the IR, has missed 2 games thus far. They're saying right now he's likely to miss more. So I'm like, okay, yeah. He'll miss Minnesota, he'll miss Tennessee. Then it's Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, bye week. I'm more thinking week 13 playoff push where I want him, because he'll come right into that number 1 role. I mean, before he suffered that injury, his snap share was 79 and 89%, and he scored 25 and 27.5 fantasy points, RB4, RB7. So when he gets back, you have week 13 on Las Vegas. I mean, you could tear them up. Philly, which has not been great against the run thus far. KC, Dallas, and your potential semifinal matchup, and then Houston, which is tough in the championship, but we'll worry about there if we get there, right? But I think Omarion Hampton, if you can buy low for a team that's struggling and they need help now, and you could kind of give up an extra receiver and get him on your IR and just reap the rewards later. If you're in a position to do so with your team where you're 5-2 right now or 6-1, right? I think Hampton down the stretch can go off because he's going to be the lead back getting all the touches. And we saw him explode before suffering the ankle injury.
Yeah, and Vidal had a good game against Miami, and then last week was a no-show against the Colts. So unless he picks it up consistently and proves that he deserves to have some touches, Hampton may come right back in and be just a workhorse again. So don't hate that at all.
All right. Who is I already touched on my surprise positive with Javonte Williams. Who is yours?
Honestly, and it's really just the 3-week sample size, but Rico Dowdle has shocked me. I mean, yeah, he's, really it's just been 3 huge games, but he's the RB11 right now. And I guess I was wrong. He just missed 100 scrimmage yards, but he looks better out of the 2 between him and Chuba. I think he'll continue to get more and more. And they've found a recipe in just the fact that he runs hard and, sparks the team. But I'm shocked. I mean, when he got signed, I know, and I was saying in the offseason for the Panthers, a big reason I was excited about this team was, the weapons they added. And he was a guy I said, and you're like, all right, come on, man, let's not talk about Rico Dowdle. And we're kind of saying, listen, Dallas didn't want him. They brought him on a 1-year prove-it deal. This guy's playing himself into a contract somewhere. Probably not going to be with Carolina because they have money tied up to Hubbard, and they still have Jonathan Brooks, who will come back next year. But somebody's going to pay this guy, and he deserves every penny of it. He's looked great. So big surprise to me, and probably not drafted in some leagues if he was drafted last round.
It's a really good one. Now get to your negative surprise.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of guys that definitely have underperformed. I mean, I don't put injuries into this. I'm not factoring that into it. But for me, I mean, Isaiah Pacheco has been terrible, dude.
Oh,
I was
so
down on
bad.
him. I was so
As
down
was
on him
I,
anyway, and
yeah, but
saying don't draft him. But a lot of people probably did in that 5th, 6th round because at the end of the day, he's a starting running back. He hasn't been like you can't play him, dude. He's averaging 7 points a game. Like he just had his best game of the season last week at 11.9 points, 57 yards on the ground, 1 touchdown on 15 carries. And then he had 1 catch for -3 yards. So he had 16 touches and only managed to get 11.9. That's his highest amount of touches in a game this season and only got 11.9. I want nothing to do with him. I never wanted anything to do with him, but I thought at least there would be weeks where you could play him and he'd be putting up close to 20 points. But he has 2 games. He has 2 games this year over 7.5 fantasy points with 11.9 and 11.8. He's at 3.8, 3.4, 5.3, 11.8, 7.1, 5.6, 11.9. So at best, he's been a flex 2 for you. At best, he's been a flex 2 for you. And at that point in the draft, you were drafting him to either be an RB2 or a flex 1. He's borderline droppable. You can't drop him because at the end of the day, he's heavily involved, in getting the touches. And you don't want to draft guys that are like starting running backs, but like you almost want to drop him and let him be a landmine for someone else. I fully believe in that in fantasy football leagues where it's like the high projections, you'll get league mates that'll be like, ooh, like I'll start him. Like, why is he out there? He's projected 10. They'll throw him in their lineup and they'll get 5 points. Like, it's almost better at times to just let him go and cut your losses and let him be landmines for others. Because I think even if Kareem Hunt were to go down, I don't think anything changes. Like, I think at this point, the only way they could have a running back be successful is if they bring someone else in. Like, I don't think Hunt, it goes both ways. Like, if Pacheco went down, I don't think Hunt all of a sudden becomes relevant. Like, I just think both guys are terrible.
I agree. Mine is Derrick Henry. Obviously, no Lamar Jackson hurts for sure. I don't think anyone anticipated this Ravens defense being this bad when you look at the names on that side of the ball, particularly in the secondary. So obviously negative game scripts have killed Derrick Henry, but week 1, he's RB1, playing only 57% of the snaps, going for 169 and 2 touchdowns. And you're like, just another year, man, of Lamar and Derrick Henry being the most dynamic running back, quarterback duo in football. And he's going to score fucking 15 touchdowns again. And that's how it's going to be. Well, here we are in week 8, and he only has scored 2 more touchdowns the rest of the way. And they've been behind, and his best performance is 14 points since that day. And he has many where he's finished as a running back 3, 4, or 5. So I think just where you took him in the second round, most likely. I mean, shit, no one expected the Ravens to be this bad. No one expected this offense to be this bad. The defense as well. I mean, the game scripts are really killing Derrick Henry.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not ideal. I mean, what I will say is I think there's better days ahead in the sense that he will start to figure it out when Lamar's back. But yeah, I'm not happy with him. And after the first week, I was like, I drafted him in the league. I'm like, holy shit, like, I feel like I got a value with him I got him in the early third. I'm like, I feel like I got this incredible value. And now it's kind of like, did I really get this incredible value? It was one great game. And then after that, it just went downhill quick.
Yeah, another one, I know we both kind of agree with this one too. Alvin Kamara. Not that we expected the Saints offense to be high powered, but just thought he'd be way more involved with the young quarterbacks on the roster and using him as a receiver, just having that PPR upside, especially in full point. And it's just been brutal for him. And it's actually been Chris Olave that's been the big, proponent of the young quarterbacks on offense.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to wide receivers here. Who do you got as your MVP?
Let's do it. Let's talk some wide receivers, brother. I'm excited. If you want to know who my MVP is, I'm going to stick with the same sentiment. I did end up switching it. I'm going with George Pickens thus far because ultimately another guy, drafted in early 5th, late 4th. Like, he was not drafted to be what he's at. I know he'll regress a little bit. But right now he's the wide receiver 4, averaging 16.4 a game and half-point scoring. He has been a beast, and I have to give him his flowers. I mean, some of these Dallas guys, man, I mean, I guess it's the perks of having a bad defense and a good offense. Like, and I'm sure we'll get Jake Ferguson will get his flowers as well. But, really, I got to give George Pickens his flowers because the other guys around there, like JSN, St. Brown, Chase, it was expected. It was really expected that they would be beasts. I mean, JSN, I'll let you talk more about him. He's obviously balling out, but Pickens, I did not think had that in him. I was looking for a guy that could be a nice wide receiver too, not like a top 5 wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, scoring 6 touchdowns thus far will do it for you. 2 games over 30. I mean, he's been an animal, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I went with JSN. Way to spoil my pick, Reagan. But yeah, I think the fact that, that's 3 games in a row over 100 yards and a touchdown. Wild. The fact that he's doing it with a different quarterback from last year, and we see how bad Geno Smith's been with the Raiders, but he was a dog last year with Geno. Now with Darnold, he's even better. He's playing more on the outside, so there's no, number 1 corner going over to DK Metcalf. Like, he is that dude, and outside of him, it's Cooper Kupp and really nothing else. And we know Kupp is washed at this point. So the fact that he's got really no one else around him, he's moving inside and outside, he's drawing the full defense's attention, and he's still just cooking dudes without elite speed. Like, he didn't run like in the 4.3s, dog. Like, he does not have elite speed, but he's in the argument for one of the best route runners in the game. He's beating him in any way that he can. I just think, we didn't think the Seahawks would be this good. We didn't think Darnold would be this good. I mean, shout out to Sam Darnold as well. Like, he's might be even better than he was last year in Minnesota, the way he's playing. But JSN, man, can't believe he fell to 20th in the draft. I saw a tweet. Someone was like, I forget the amount of games, call it like 25. He's like, damn, this guy only didn't have over 300 receiving yards in a game 25 times in college. We should have known he was going to be this good. And I'm like, yeah, the guy went for 300 yards in a bowl game. Like, how did he fall to 20th in the draft? It makes no sense. Guy's an animal.
I don't know.
And I mean, holy shit, bro. And I got him in the 3rd round, that I'm like, he's the only reason my team is still alive after losing my 1st round pick for the season.
Yeah, he is unbelievable. I mean, I would be ecstatic to have him on my fantasy team, my NFL team. He is the real deal.
I don't have him in any of my 3 dynasties, and I'm just really upset. Really upset I didn't make the move for him earlier and bought low. All right, man. Trade away. What are you thinking here?
Yeah. I mean, I would love to say Pickens, but
I'm saying Pickens. Like, absolutely, he's been a dog. But are the touchdowns going to keep up with CeeDee Lamb back there? Like, I mean, maybe he is a freak of nature, but he only had 4 catches on 6 targets this week. Still had 82 yards, 20 yards.
The only reason I'm not trading him away is just because I think the offense will still be high powered enough that he'll get his and have the red zone things. I'm actually going to trade away Rome Odunze. I'm truly worried. I talked about it earlier. I'm worried about this offense.
Really? Well, you have him in Dynasty, so you think about doing it in Dynasty too? I know, but I'm saying in Dynasty too.
No, because I think DJ Moore will eventually leave, and then he'll be the number 1. But no, I'm just a little worried about this year. Like, I think they're trying to figure out their footing right now, and until Rome shows to be consistently like a big target guy and a big reception guy, like right now he hasn't had more than 4 catches in a game since week 2. So that scares me, because in week 3 he had 3 catches, but he had the touchdown. Week 4 he had 4 catches, but he had the touchdown. Then he had the bye, and then the past 2 weeks, 2 catches, no touchdowns. That scares me. I want none of that. I think long-term he can be a double-digit target guy, but he's only gotten to that once this year. And, right now he's averaging 13 a game. On averages, he's the top 12 guy. And I don't think he'll finish that because I think all the guys that are in the top 12 are getting minimum 10 targets a game every game. Not once in 6 games, every game. So I'm trading him away.
Okay. Now, who do you want to trade for?
Right. Guys I would probably trade for at this point. I mean, if you can get Ibuka, I would definitely trade.
It's going to
be
really tough. Really tough.
I don't think you can get him.
Today.
I would say, like, honestly, a guy I kind of like a lot and hasn't done a ton yet, but I think has a lot better games coming. And I know he's had some injuries and stuff, but I would go out and get Ricky Pearsall if you can. Buy low on the fact that he's missed the past 3 games. Before he got injured, he was doing pretty good, and he had a lot of production down the stretch with Mac Jones. He's done we haven't seen a ton with Brock Purdy yet, but we know that like regardless who the quarterback is, he's going to get his. And we've seen what Kendrick Bourne's been able to do stepping in. So Pearsall's a guy I'd definitely be looking to get on the cheap right now, buying in on the injury bias and the fact that, bigger days could be ahead once he gets healthy.
Yeah, I like that one. I'm going to go with Drake London as my trade for. He's only wide receiver 15 right now, has a bye week baked in there, so he'd be a little bit higher. But I think it's a good opportunity after week 7 against San Francisco. Only had 8.2 points, 4 catches for 42 yards. That's what the casuals will look at. Us fantasy football nerds and enthusiasts will look at the 10 targets. The week before, 16 targets. Of course, 31 points, wide receiver 1. The week before, 10 targets, 8 targets. A dud with 4 targets. Before that, 15 targets. I don't care that Darnell Mooney's back in the lineup. Michael Penix has shown us who his alpha is and who he wants to funnel the ball to, and that is Drake London. Yeah. This offense has already shown that they can be elite. You just don't know what you're going to get on a week-to-week basis with them. Obviously not the best performance against San Francisco, but they were number 1 in yards per game before that San Francisco game. So I think that's kind of what we're going to see. And with Bijan Robinson, that run game, they're going to have a lot of red zone opportunities, and that's where Drake London is at his best. So give me Drake London. I think he's a wide receiver 1 the rest of the way, no doubt.
Love that. Yeah. I mean, that one primetime game against the Bills really solidified it that Michael Penix loves this guy.
Loves him. 16 targets. 10 catches, 158 and a touchdown. And he only has 2 touchdowns so far this year. This guy could be a 10 touchdown guy. He should be a 10 touchdown guy with that size and frame. So definitely I think the touchdowns are going to start to catch up with the targets and the yardage production too.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Big surprise. Positive. Guys we're really happy about that are doing well.
Yeah. I mean, Ibuka, sure.
Yeah. Ibuka, stud.
Honestly, Keenan Allen's another guy, and Debo.
That's my guy.
I mean, I'm going to go with Debo. Ultimately.
Yeah.
I ended up, there's just a few guys like in that category, but for me, ultimately, I went with Debo. And I think even with him missing last week, like McLaurin's been up and down injured, but I think there's going to be some big games ahead from Debo. I mean, he's had 2 dud games this year, one with 3.9, one with 3.4. The second one, though, I think was injury-wise because he was limited all week with a heel and then missed this past week with it. So I kind of chalked it up to injury. But he's had 19, 13.9, 17.1, 19.6. He's been involved as a runner as well, punching in 1 touchdown, getting a couple carries here and there. I think there could be some big games down the stretch for Debo, especially with how injured that wide receiver core is. So I've been surprised with him, and the leagues I have him, I've been thrilled to have him.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, you mentioned mine, Keenan Allen, wide receiver 7 on the season, came in during training camp and just clearly never lost that connection with Justin Herbert, which we should have known he still had enough in the tank after how he played down the stretch in Chicago last year. Like towards the second half of the season, he was almost Caleb Williams' best receiver. So it was crazy that he lasted all the way to training camp. I mean, you also can go with Quentin Johnston, the other Chargers receiver. So it's the big surprises, the ones that faded Ladd McConkey, I guess. But Quentin Johnston's wide receiver 14 on the season, and that's with missing a game. And I guess the surprise is that he's actually holding on to the football and not dropping it. And you can see what he can do because he's not an elite route runner by any stretch of the means, but you get him on these crossing routes and those deep posts and corners, and he's so athletic and he has a big frame that he can make plays, and he's really damn good after the catch. He's been a touchdown machine. So both those Chargers receivers have been huge positives, and it's great for Justin Herbert, a guy that I was high on before the season.
Yeah, no, I that's been another big surprise, not just for that, but like not only for fantasy, but people are just writing him off as like a guy like just like being like a bust. Because like Debo, bust. Like people were saying he was on the back end of his career, but still would have value. Johnson, they were just like, this guy might be out of the league the way it's going.
I know, dude. I mean, what a turnaround for him. All right, we got to do the negative though. Who's someone you're very disappointed in?
Yeah, I mean, there's some definitely those top tier receivers are easy go-tos. I mean, I wasn't high on Ladd, so I'm not going to say Ladd.
Same here. We was in our do not draft before the season.
So I feel like that's an easy one. Like Brian Thomas, I was super high on. Nico Collins, I was super high on. Even T. Higgins. But honestly, for me, like Jamison Williams has been terrible.
Oh, a zero burger. I actually won a matchup last night because he got a zero burger and Nico got hurt. I was projected to lose by 30 and I won. I was like, oh my God. How does J-Mo throw up a nothing burger, Reagan?
Yeah, not only that, I mean, he's only had 2 games over 5.4. And I mean, the 2 games over 5.4 have been great. He had 17.8 and 15.6. But not only that, he's only had 2 games where he's had 3 or more catches. So it's just a lot of concern for him. I don't even know if you could sell him high right now. Last year, he was way more involved. Like this year, it's just been, unless he has a big touchdown, he's not doing anything for you. I mean, in the past, really from week 3 on, he's only had 1 game where he's even been like relevant. So he's benchable. I mean, you don't drop him. You could try to trade him, but you're probably selling it as low. So I've just been super surprised with how bad he's been this year, but I'd probably throw him on my bench. It's just tough with a guy like that because if you need some wins, like I guess I would throw him on my bench depending on the state of my roster. If you have a lot of security and guys that you know are going to get theirs, you could throw them in. But if you're a team that needs like just some points and can't fuck around and find out, like maybe you throw him on the bench because this has been brutal.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I'm going to go with Travis Hunter here, and this is me eating crow because I was so high on him before the season. I thought if they're going to move up and give up a first-round pick in 2026 for this guy, he would be used way more on offense. And it's not even like he was getting a ton of snaps on defense either throughout this stretch, but like when he's out there, he just wasn't getting involved up until last week against the Rams, where he finally had that big game with 14 targets, 8 for 101 and a touchdown. Like that's what I was expecting to see from him, not on a weekly basis, but like the intent to get him involved in the offense, the intent from Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence to get him the ball early and keep him involved and just get the ball in his hands. Because you see what he can do. He's creating a ton of separation. He's making guys miss after the catch, but it's just not going to happen if you're not getting the targets, And I mean, his snap percentage has been above 50 every game, which all I said before the season was give me 60 to 70% on offense and just give him the ball 6 to 8 targets a game, and you're going to be fine because he can make insane plays with the balls in his hand. I know that big catch he had against Kansas City down the field was just awesome, but it's like, why is that not a bigger part of the offense? And I don't know, man. I think it's a Trevor Lawrence problem because we've talked about Brian Thomas a lot on today's episode and how he's been a big negative, but maybe it's not the talent of Hunter and Brian Thomas, and there's some deeper issues there. I don't know, dude. I just thought with the capital they gave up and the fact he's a Heisman Trophy winner and how silky smooth he is on offense, they'd at least get him more involved.
Yeah, I would have thought so. I mean, it's really just this last week that was great. And I honestly dropped him in my leagues because I was so over it. And now it's like, is he turning a corner? But I still wouldn't feel confident that he is. I mean, it's been one great week, and the utilization's always a big question mark. But yeah, it's been unfortunate with Travis Hunter thus far.
All right, let's move on to the tight ends to bring this podcast to a conclusion tonight. Your MVP at the tight end position.
Yeah, dude. I mean, the tight ends have been rough this year. There has not been a lot of consistency. I mean, right now, believe it or not, there's only like 6 guys averaging double-digit points a game. For me, it's Tucker Kraft. Ultimately, has been my MVP. I've been thrilled with what he's been able to do. He seems like he's the number 1 option in Green Bay right now. He's getting a ton of targets. I mean, long term, if you have him in Dynasty, that has to excite you. He's like a baby Kittle. But also, there's that one game, that one Sunday Night Football, which, against Dallas, where he got tackled at the 1 yard, I think, 1 yard line 2 times. So, like, this guy could be even better this year. But 3 weeks already over 3 weeks over double digits, 5 of his 6 games over 8 points. So he's been really consistent for the tight end position. There's really only been 1 week that he's dudded you. But he just has the talent that he's going to put up some big touchdowns, have yardage. And right now he's the number 1 receiving option for the Packers.
Yeah, I love Tucker Kraft. Got him in 1 dynasty. I'm pissed I don't have him in any others. But yeah, a position that I was worried about long term. I no longer have those worries. I picked him up off waivers last year, like midseason. And, he's certainly in that top 5 dynasty tight end landscape. Just been a stud. And it's like with the receivers that the Packers have, there's no true alpha. So like Kraft is going to continue to be a huge part of that offense and how they want to run it with a lot of under center with Josh Jacobs. So great pick there. I went with Tyler Warren, the rookie out of Penn State. Tight end 3 on the season. Where you picked him, I mean, I know his ADP kind of climbed towards the end of the summer, but I was getting him in some best ball drafts at like that tight end 12, 13 range, in like July and then August, kind of that back end of the top 10. But he's finally getting that touchdown production. He's got a touchdown in 4 straight games. There's no doubt this Colts offense is one of the best in the league, and that's going to continue. And he only has 1 week where he has not finished as a tight end 1. So that's just really impressive for a rookie coming into the league. And he's literally on pace with Brock Bowers' rookie season in terms of production, which we thought we wouldn't see for a really long time. He's a unicorn. I mean, they're going to use him more with maybe some tush pushes and running the ball a little bit and throwing the ball. There'll be more trickery coming up the sleeve where you could steal some points and maybe steal a matchup down the road.
Yeah, and you've seen why, like, the past 4 weeks he's been so good. He has a touchdown in each of the past 4 games, but the utilization's going up and up. But even then, like, he's, like you said, he's just a unicorn, man. He's so freaking good. And I hope we get Bowers back soon as well, because, not having him, it's like hard. You almost forget about him.
Absolutely, man. All right, who's someone you want to trade away at the tight end position?
Yeah, for me, it's Jake Ferguson. I just think he's at his peak right now. Like, I don't think there's getting any better, and I think it's only down.
Tight end 1. Tight end 1. A lot of touchdowns.
Yeah, it's a lot of touchdowns. It's a lot of targets, but also the fact that there's been no CD. So I'm a little nervous. I mean, he'll still be good for fantasy regardless, but I would just sell high. Like, I think you could actually parlay him into getting a much better option. Like, go out and package him with like one of your running backs to go get a top tier running back, or go out and package him with a wide receiver to get a massive wide receiver upgrade. That's kind of how I'm looking at it right now. Use him and another guy to get a massive upgrade at one of those premium positions where, you could get a really impactful wide receiver, or running back, or maybe even a quarterback. I mean, if you could use him and, a bottom tier quarterback to go get a Josh Allen, like, it's not a bad idea. I mean, you can always find tight ends that can get a touchdown any week. I mean, I'm going to get into another guy later because I have 2 for tight ends I want to trade for. But, yeah.
Okay. Trade away for me, Travis Kelce. He's tight end 5 right now. Now Rashee Rice is back. I think we're going to see a lot of duds from him. He's 36 years old. Last year, towards the end of the season, he kind of went on a really big skid where he didn't finish higher than tight end 12 over a 7-game stretch. And that was without Rashee Rice as well. Now Mahomes has his full arsenal. I don't think Kelce's going to be used as much. I think you can use the name. You could use these tight end 5 right now before some of that production starts to go away. I don't know. And you look at the Chiefs' schedule down the stretch, like, I get it. It's Mahomes. They're matchup proof. But towards the playoffs, you got Houston and the Chargers. Like, that's pretty brutal. The bye week's still coming up. They still got Denver twice, including the championship matchup. So I'm not loving the matchups for KC down the road. And now that Rashee Rice is back, I think we see similar to what we saw in 2024, where a lot of production early, and then he starts to taper off towards the end of the year and gears up for the playoffs. The real playoffs, not your fantasy playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, no, sorry. What were you going to say? Or were you moving on?
That's it. I was going to move on to, who do you want to trade for?
Yeah, so guys I would be trading for, I'm going to give you 2, because one's the guy you're picking up. If you're listening, it might already be too late if you're listening tomorrow. So the guy I'm trading for is Brock Bowers. I think you could go, odds are whoever drafted him, probably in a spot right now because they drafted him early, that they're on the outside looking in, might be starting to panic with all the injuries, the uncertainty with Geno. His talent will weigh out, and if Jakobi Meyers leaves, it's even better for him. So he's a guy I would go trade for. The guy I'm going to pick up, and I think is a must pick up, might be the top waiver wire priority. I'm dropping 20% of my budget is Oronde Gadsden.
Let's go.
I mean, the dude's had 8 targets, 7 catches on 8 targets for 68 yards against Miami. And then this past week, a monster performance. 7 catches, 9 targets, 164 yards and a touchdown. I mean, this guy came out of nowhere and has just been a beast. And this isn't a fluke to me. Like, you don't see this at the tight end position. So
not a fluke.
And with Herbert at the quarterback, and I'm just buying it, bro. I'm dropping like over $20 in Fab. I'm debating upping that because I really want to get this guy. I think he could really solve the tight end position. Right now, I have $21 on him. So I'm debating, do I want to put more? Do I not? It's always tough because you don't want to blow all your Fab because he's not a running back. That's usually where you want to blow the majorities if a running back goes down in the handcuffs on waivers. But man, he is a guy that you got to go out and get.
Yeah. Did you check our Dynasty League, and is he available on waivers?
No, but I'm all right in that one. I got Tucker Kraft, so I didn't even care.
What about the other Dynasty League? What about the other Dynasty League that we're both in?
No, I didn't check that.
Did you see it? Did you check?
Got good tight ends. I have too many good tight ends.
I'm just saying that, if you know. He's been on my taxi slot in all 3 of my Dynasty leagues since July.
That's
if
huge.
you know, you know. He was getting a ton of buzz in camp. They're like, yo, this Gaston guy might be somebody. He's making plays. Was not super involved early, but
now he's there.
Dude, that play that he had, where it was a PI on him. He caught the ball. He stiff armed someone and was separating from the DBs. That really long catch. It's that is so rare from the tight end position, freak athlete. And of course, paired with Justin Herbert, home run. Yeah. We know Jim Harbaugh loves his tight ends. So, shit, dude. Gadsden, stud. Love that one. I can't really top that. That's kind of where my mind was at too. I also said Tyler Warren, but I've already kind of.
You're not really trading for this guy
MVP.
Yet. You know what I mean?
Another guy I could throw out that's similar to Gadsden is a rookie in Harold Fannin.
Okay, that's better because you can trade for him.
You look at Fannin; he has played over 79% of the snaps the past 4 weeks, which is awesome because you still have Njoku in the picture. He's tight end 10 on the season right now. He kind of slid the draft a little bit because he ran a 4.6 and people didn't know if that was going to translate to the NFL because he was so good at Bowling Green after the catch. But I think he had 1,500 receiving yards last year. Sometimes you got to just look at the production and be like, yeah, it's going to translate. And that's what Fannon's showing with Njoku in the picture. I'm not a big Dylan Gabriel fan myself. Whether he stays a starting quarterback or it's Sanders remains to be seen. But the fact his snap share is this high and Gabriel's already shown you he struggles to push the ball downfield to receivers means you can have a lot of high floor games with Harold Fannin just from a PPR standpoint.
Yeah. No, I like that one as well. They have so many sets with both of them on the field. You talked about the percentages, so I like it a lot. And the depth of target is definitely something of concern for Gabriel, but something to love as a Fanning owner.
For sure. All right. Big surprise that you're happy about.
Yeah. Honestly, there's, a lot of the tight ends have been big surprises. I didn't think, Ferguson would be there. I didn't think Tyler Warren would be there right away. Really, Trey McBride was the only one I expected to really be there. And I guess Goddard's been a nice surprise. There's not. I don't know. I guess I'll go with Ferguson and Warren. Really Kincaid's a nice one. I guess You know what? I'll go with AJ Barner. That's who I'll go with. It's hard to go back and forth, but he's a guy that's actually been playable, and we didn't know how that Seattle. How that whole Seattle thing would play out. But ultimately, he's been a guy you can play. He's had some good games. He's had some dud games. But, Darnold likes him a lot. They target him a lot in the red zone. And he's a guy you can play week in and week out. So I'll go with A.J. Barner. It's a tough landscape at the tight end position because, the guys you thought would be good outside of McBride. Yeah, outside of the big three, McBride's been good. The other one's not so much. And then, if you waited on Ferguson and, Kraft and Warren and Goddard, they're paying the rewards, but we still knew they had it in them. I didn't think Barner would be a top 12 tight end. So
no, I really liked the rookie Elijah Arroyo. I thought he was going to be the guy there. So yeah, it's interesting. Of course, the big surprise is Jake Ferguson. He's coming off a tight end 25 season. Now he's tight end 1. And I know we did before last season. He was my breakout guy that I loved. Yeah. I was just a year early on it. It sucks. He's a touchdown machine. He's really stepped up without CeeDee Lamb. So, that's a really good one. I mean, Dalton Kincaid was the other guy that really came to mind for me. Kind of slid a little bit in the rankings because they had a bye, but tight end 11, he missed the game week 6 and they had a bye. So he's still tight end 11 with only 5 games with 3 touchdowns. Like, that's the guy they drafted in the first round, dude. Like, he's supposed to be the best weapon on this offense right now, just pure based on draft status. And he was that receiving tight end coming out of Utah. I know Daniel Jeremiah was stupid high on him. So, the fact that we're kind of seeing that, I mean, similar to Ferguson, where Kincaid was supposed to be a dog last year, would finish as tight end 30. So the fact that he's up there in that tight end 1 landscape with missing a couple games is just massive. And paired with Josh Allen, like, nothing's going to change. He's clearly overtaken Dawson Knox. So big plus for Dalton Kincaid, who I have a ton of in best ball.
Yeah, no, and so far that's been nice. That has been very nice for you. I mean, the tight end position, if can really reap the rewards, especially in best ball, with how bad it is for a lot of people in weeks. Because I tried not to take more than 2 tight ends in most leagues, and there's somewhere like I got a guy that misses and the other guy has 3 points, and I'm like, damn, it would have been nice if I had a tight end get like 15 or 16. Because you see the guys at the very top in most of the best ball leagues are the guys that have the Jake Fergusons and the Tucker Crafts, the guys that have been the top tier ones that have consistently been good. So they're not getting duds every week at that position.
It's another year that just reminds you, like, wait on tight end. You could find diamonds in the rough later. And if you get a couple of them, it's just, I don't know, man. It's just a reminder for me. All right. Surprise negative to close out tonight's pod.
I mean, Bowers has been injured, so I'm not going to say him, because that's kind of a cop out, Same with Kittle. That's the thing. Like, some of the top tight ends, like, that have struggled have been injured. So it's like not really fair to say. So I'm not going to say them because I know we're going to have people be like, well, what do you mean? Bowers just sucked. I don't know. I went back and forth, but
I landed on Evan Ingram, dude. Tight end 23. Clearly not very involved in the offense. He's not that joker that Sean Payton has talked about he wants in his offense. I mean, last week was the highest he's played in a season at a 56% snap share. Not ideal. His highest targets in the season in 8 and tied for his highest yards with 42. Only 1 touchdown. Guy's just not out there enough. He's not someone they're looking for in the offense with, outside of Cortland Sutton, like Troy Franklin's all right. Like, Marvin Mims is all right, but there's really no alphas outside of Sutton. So you thought Ingram would be way more involved. The fact that he's been this bad and what it should have been a really good offense is disappointing.
Yeah, for me, I ended up switching mine because the more and more I've thought about this, I ended up switching mine to Loveland just because a lot of people drafted him in leagues, and he's been terrible. I mean,
awful.
He's only
the worst
2.4. Yeah, he's the worst one by far. I mean, he missed a game, but still, his highest performance is 3.9, which is last week, and that was 3 catches for 24 yards. He doesn't have more than 4 targets in a game. His highest in receiving yards is 31 yards, and he's had, a game where he had 0 points. He's just he hasn't been playable. There's not one week where you've been like he's been good, and he hasn't even shown a ton of flashes. He's in a timeshare, and they haven't really made an effort yet. And it's like, wait, they drafted this guy at 10th, and this is what he's doing. So very head-scratching his utilization and play so far with the Bears. But right now he belongs on your waivers. And if you spent, a top-tier dynasty pick on him, you're probably upset thus far.
Dude, I can't believe they picked him 10th overall. Like, Colts fans got to be fucking thrilled they got Tyler Warren at 14. I mean, my goodness. What a waste of a pick if you're not going to use him.
Who's to say this wouldn't be Tyler Warren either? I think it's more of a Bears thing than it is a Loveland thing.
I do think it's more so Bears than Loveland, the player, but still, dude, like, if he was Warren good, they have no choice but to funnel him the football, though. Like, that's kind of what.
Cole Kmet all that money. Why the hell are you drafting a tight end at 10? I would have still thought it was a bad pick if they took Warren.
And that's the thing where it's like, even in Ben Johnson's offense, where he clearly wants to run a lot of 2 tight end sets. He did that in Detroit as well with Brock Wright and Sam Laporta, but you don't have to take a tight end at 10th overall. If you take a tight end at 10th overall, you better fucking use them like the Colts are using Tyler Warren.
And they're not doing that.
It's malpractice. It is malpractice. That is actually the best one we've said all night. Biggest negative. He completely slipped my mind because he's been a ghost.
Yeah, no, that's how bad he is. That's why, I had Cade Otton because he's been another one that was bad. But then I was like, wait a second. So that's why I was like,
We know guys been way worse.
I'm forgetting someone, and I was looking through it one more time while you were talking. I was like, wait, I forgot about Loveland. But Otton's another one as well. Like, he's picked it up recently, but like the fact that it's taken this long with all these injuries for him to do stuff, like, to me, he should have been involved right away. We saw it down the stretch last year, but not ideal. But that's all I got.
So we got Felters. It's been a long one. If you're still with us, goddamn, you're a tryhard. You're a diehard. We love you. we appreciate you. Hopefully, if you're still listening, maybe you tail Big Dog's parlay this week. Let's keep it going. The Felt 5. We've been cooking. We're both plus 500 on the season and spreads. The Felt's hot. Stay with us. Keep it going. We'll catch you next time on Around the Felt.